59 on 18th of September. You need to decide whether you want to be having an injection, behaving like a sheep, marks on your forehead. That was the first one, authorizing unlicensed vaccine to the public. 66 million people in the United Kingdom. They are very sensible people, highly educated, very civilized. I have a lot of respect for all of you. I'm part of the system of 30 years working for NHS, unblemished record. Number two, the workforce in place to administer vaccine into the public. Number three, the civil liberty and immunity. Number four, promotion of vaccination. And number five, wholesale selling of the vaccination in UK and in the rest of the world. Can you imagine that, guys? 5-6 months ago, when I said all these possibilities are coming, you must have seen my videos in different languages. Was I right or wrong at that time? I said that that's going to be implemented, the forced vaccination, whether you like it or not. You got to stand against that atrocity and imposing that again. Nobody can ask you to be injected poisonous substance unless you are willing to do that. I'm a surgeon of 35-year unblemished record. We get consent form signed by the public, a patient, before doing any operation. Even patient is dying because of any serious surgical catastrophe. If patient says, no, I don't want any treatment, we cannot proceed. Similarly, you have the right to say no to the vaccine and all the poison substances which are going to be administered to you.
Peace Gardens in Sheffield today.
I would like to
rally.
Remind you and the health professionals across the world who are listening my voice today, with hundreds of people here and millions across the world, that the health professional has given an oath. That is historical Hippocratic oath based on the medical ethics. I have given that oath soon after I graduated from my medical college. That's 35 years ago. I said, I will do no harm to the patients. I will not administer any poisonous substances into public or by patients, and I will never encourage to do so to anyone injecting the poisonous material into my patient. That is the oath which we have given health professionals. I know, I must appreciate millions of doctors across the world. They are talking. They have the recent interview of 200 doctors from the United States of America. I was part of that. 600 doctors from Germany. And we have got a fair amount of doctors in the United Kingdom, and more are joining us. Just now you have listened Emmy's verdict here. I do second that verdict because I am part of that. I'm a surgeon. She is a recovery nurse, so we know what's happening inside. And since I've been working in that health system, I know because of that lockdown, 70 to 80% of the hospital beds were lying empty until today. I can witness as a part of the NHS that the imperial model was totally flawed and based on the influenza virus of the study of 14 years ago. But I must confess here that we will stand with the public, with the human rights, with the liberty. We promote freedom of speech, and we promote for health and safety. I said that by the end of April, exactly what I'm telling today, because I'm eyewitness for the atrocities happening in the health system and across the world, leading to devastating effect on the economy, on the education and the health services. I said exactly the same thing a few months ago. On 22nd of April, I was dismissed from the service. That was my fault, that I went to social media and expressed my viewpoint. under Article 10 Human Rights Act, I can hold my opinion and I can express myself. That's why I did. I went to the YouTube. I was taken very seriously by my regulator, and they called a meeting, and they summoned a letter to me that I need to appear in front of the interim order tribunal of the General Medical Council, which is usually a last stage before they sanction anybody. Nobody told me before that that is a serious issue. I still think about it could have been an option in a respectful way to ask me to come round the table and have a talk and what exactly is required. Then I would convince them that this is what I'm feeling. But they went straight on the interim order tribunal meeting, and they suspended me for 12 months. 1st of June, they suspended me for 12 months because of speaking the truth. They suspended me, but they could not silence me. They could not silence me, neither they will in future. So that is absolute unfair dismissal, and I have serious concern about the General Medical Council, its members, interim order tribunal, who have been doing the same thing to a lot of the health professionals. And I've got documents with me. 400 doctors have suicided in UK in last 4 years, from 2014 to 2018. And from August 19 until August 22, 369 doctors have been summoned, they have been suspended, they have been cautioned, warned, and they have taken undertaken, mostly belonging to the ethnic minority. But we talk about the equality and justice. That is not right. So I'm standing for that. And General Medical Council document says they admitted that 111 doctors committed suicide from 2005 to 2013. That is the General Medical statement. You should go home and please explore this when you're on Google. Type in how many doctors suicided in health services. They have been penalized. But I would say here, our greatest glory is not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. And I must appreciate your kind love, dedication, sacrifice, and your time coming all the way to join us. We made this day historical. Bit by bit makes a history. And in conclusion, I would say that the lockdown is totally unnecessary. Because there's more damage, more people have died because of lockdown rather than the coronavirus, having mortality of 0.03 to 0.25%, as described by all the epidemiologists. What were you doing in lockdown for? And what were you planning for? Vaccination when already the virus has died down, and there's only infection of virus. We do understand the virus exists, but it's not the way you have been trying to orchestrate. We're not saying that virus is a hoax. Virus does present, as the scientific evidence say, but coronavirus is part of our body. It's a host. And there are millions of strains of coronavirus across in the environment before it came to the knowledge of the mainstream media and the government. And the RT-PCR test designed by Carrie Mullis in 1985, who got the Nobel Prize in 1993, said that this test can be used for the microorganism. On that basis, he got the Nobel Prize. But his test has been used, but only thing is, there's only 50 to 60% sensitivity of this test. The accuracy is 50 to 60%, but 90% people would be positive. But doesn't mean that they need admission, or they should be out of work, or they are the source of infection to the other. Certainly not. Test positive doesn't mean the infection. The definition of infection is presence of the microorganism with the sign and symptom, and the clinical manifestation, which include cough, fever, sweating, and even worse than pneumonia, and that is kind of a symptom. But anybody in this crowd, for example, 200 people standing here, they will test RT-PCR positive, and say 30, 40, 60 people come back positive. Doesn't mean that they need to be admitted into the hospital. That is just a test. And as I said, 90% people will have test positive, but doesn't mean that they are infected. So please clarify your mind from this. Do your work as normal. And we are against lockdown. We don't want a vaccine. Say no to this document. You can explore that on the government website. I have tried to circulate this document to everybody. So you should know yourself before it's too late. I am standing with you, all the professionals standing with you. You should be able to understand what's going on. It's not just a virus. Virus is a tiny, invisible enemy. We're not going to be frightened by the virus itself. With all this, I want again thank you very much. And very kind of you to come all the way to participate with us. Is there any question I would like to answer to the public? As I'm a health professional with long-standing experience, you might still have some questions, doubt, or anything I could explain.
I'll just say that.
WHO changed definition of pandemic from actual sick cases, dead people, to amount of infection. From doctor's perspective, can you understand? Can you explain us so we can understand what should be definition of pandemic, genuine situation?
It is a very good question, actually. There are two things. One is epidemic. When it arises, suppose in Sheffield, there is epidemic. Some disease arises here, that's epidemic. When it's pandemic, means it's uncontrollable, it's not treatable, and it involves the rest of the world. The WHO actually declared this coronavirus, which was detected by Chinese and by end of December, and they actually called that time as a COVID. No, sorry, it's a SARS 219, and then it was SARS-CoV, and then the WHO actually named it as COVID-19. That was on 11th of March. But they said it's pandemic. But you can see, I can tell you that this is not a pandemic. It has been made look like a pandemic. Okay, remember that. There are a lot of countries which never had this incident, like North Korea, Vietnam, Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan, and in many countries, the lockdown has not been in place, like in Sweden, Denmark, Norway, Vietnam, South Korea, North Korea, and a lot of countries, and they have done better than the lockdown actually. And the government of UK has actually admitted the countries who have not done lockdown have done much better compared to the larger countries. So with this, I have got my respected honorable friend P.S. Corbin, whose dedication is always highly appreciated, and he's been traveling across the world, across the country, from one place to another. I really have a lot of regard for P. Corbin and his friends, and I pass on to him now.
Thank you very much, Dr. Adil. Yes, Dr. Adil! Yes, after he spoke, I thought, remember, in Trafalgar Square we pledged support from the movement for all medical workers who are victimised for defending the people against the lockdown lies. So we want to repeat that here. We will defend all victimised health workers who are fighting for the truth. Yes! And the way forward, of course, is come to London in massive numbers on the 26th of September. And some people have asked me, what am I doing on the 19th?
Yeah,
because
they've tried to arrest him already today, but that was
on the 19th of September, I'm
beautifully
going to
prevented.
be at a mass rally in Portsmouth, which is, you notice, very near to the Isle of Wight. So, just a piece of information. But you see, on the 19th, we want to have rallies in towns all over the country.
Yeah, they said they tried to arrest him when he went to the toilet, so about 10-15 people went with him to prevent that from happening. They've tried it a couple of times.
Thank you, Piers. Thank you, Dr. Adil. Thanks to all the speakers today. We're going to have a little 2-minute break now, and then we're going to go on a march. So Amy's going to lead it. I think you all know who Amy is now with the megaphones. All I would suggest is when we're doing the march, keep it tight. Some people are going to stay here, I'm going to stay here. But just let's keep it tight and keep it together, okay? Yes. Okay, thanks everybody, thank you.
Amy's going to lead it. Dad's leaving.
Okay, so I believe they are now going to do some type of... just jumped down off the wall there. They're going to do some type of march.
Oh,
so...
If you can as well, if you can surround Piers and Dr. Adil to make sure that they're safe, please. That's really, really important.
Okay, so we're going to go on a march now. So that's all for now. I'm going to carry on taking pre-recorded content on my other camera, which is right here, which you'll all see later on. I'm going to reserve the battery on my phone. Yeah, we're going to try and keep certain people safe from being arrested today. So yeah, we will bring you all up to speed in a little while. Shout out to everyone in the chat room. Cheers for tuning in. And I'll be back live again soon to bring you all up to date about what's going on in here in Sheffield. There's also a simultaneous event going on in London just now from Hyde Park Speakers Corner, peaceful march in London with Stand Up X as well. So there's multiple events going on today across the UK. Thank you so much, everyone.